Hello and welcome to the SuperShow podcast. I'm your host, Chris, and I'm joined with the lovely Jam Gigolo and Alex Sunshine Jones. How's it going, fellas?
It's going well. Thank you very much for giving me my full title.
Yeah.
Sunshine.
Finally nice to be acknowledged for my the job I do away from this podcast.
You're a wrestler, Jamie?
No, I'm a male prostitute.
Oh, shit.
Jam Gigolo. You've actually given away his working name, which you really shouldn't do.
Yeah, my street name, as they call it out there. But it's fine. If anything, it'll lead to more business, right?
Hey, yeah. Best you start that OnlyFans. Anyway, if you are joining us for the first time, we're a gaming podcast. We don't take ourselves too seriously, and we just talk a lot of bullshit, as you could probably tell. We are available on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, all those good podcasting platforms. And we are also now available on Paisley Radio at paisleyradio.com. So shout out the Scots.
All of them.
I'm just going to put that one out there. All right, fellas. In today's episode, I thought we'd kind of mix things around, okay? Because usually we kind of get to grips with what we've been talking about and this, that, the other, what we've been playing, do a few shout outs and then get into the news. But I'm going to take our one main news item. I'm going to bring it right to the front and we're just going to chat about that before we get into everything else. All right, you ready?
That's good.
Let's do it.
Have you clenched your butt cheeks? Right? Because I need you. You got to pay attention. Okay.
Because
the
physically
PS5
can't clench mine anymore. It's a problem I have. Like,
wow.
It's just they're in a permanent state of looseness.
I think there's a cream for that. Anyway, we digress.
That is how you trick a what do you call it? A lie detection machine.
What, you just like relax your asshole?
No, you tense it. Apparently.
Specifically that part of your body.
Specifically that part of your body. With every question, you do that, and then you throw the machine off because you throw stuff out of whack. And then they can never get a baseline for you.
There was a movie. There was a movie based on that, wasn't it? It was called Sphincter's List. All right. Anyway, fellas, the PS5 is completely sold out in Japan. What do you think about that one? All reservations are completely gone. And it's worth noting, of course, that Japan uses a lottery system as opposed to us Westerners, where it's first come, first serve, give me your money.
I think on first reading of this, like this story seems kind of obvious, but then I think what people might not realize is that we were assuming there was a whole bunch of units that were kind of reserved for launch day. That they were going to make available on launch day to kind of, get that whole retail thing going. I'm assuming they're doing that in the UK, which is interesting now because of lockdown. But because they've now said all their reserves are gone, everything has been pre-ordered. I mean, yeah, it's kind of mad. It's pretty mad.
It kind of feels to me that like the PS5 or the thirst for PS5 far outstrips what I felt at the time with the PS4, right?
Yeah, in a weird way. And like, for some reason, I can't quite put my finger on why. Obviously, you're always a little bit younger when you're referring back to a previous generation, and your life situation was a little bit different. But I'm experiencing the exact same thing, Chris, where my PS5 fever, my PS5 hype, is at boiling point. And now, as we record this 2 weeks away from release here in the UK, I literally cannot wait. But with the PS4, I remember I was like, weirdly patient about it, and I didn't get one at launch for the PS4. I got it before Christmas, but not at launch, and I didn't care.
Yeah,
I don't think I even pre-ordered it particularly quickly, but I don't know why that's changed in the last 7 years. Probably something to do with working on a gaming channel for like 5 of those 7 years, and my life sort of suddenly changing to be more about video games. But yeah.
It could be. I have a theory because I was like you, but even worse, Jamie, where I didn't buy a PS4 at launch. I didn't even think that the PS4 would win the generation. I thought the Xbox One would win the generation. So there you go. What do I know? But I only bought a PS4 when God of War came out, which is like the tail end of its lifespan.
Yeah,
right?
2018 it would have been. Yeah,
but my theory is this. I think, especially in the latter half of the PS4's lifespan, the exclusive titles on that PS4 is what is creating all of this hype for this PS5. That's my theory. Put on the tinfoil hat. Call me Hershey's,
That's quite good. Yeah, no, I can see that though, because they've definitely doubled down on console exclusives, and they've really pushed it in a massive way in the last sort of few years, especially. And some of the titles that everyone's looking forward most to are sequels to those massive exclusives on the PS4. I must admit, I didn't have a real
Yeah.
drive to get a PS4 specifically at launch day. But this time around, I'm like Jamie, like I was like, my fever is boiling over to get my hands on one of those PS5s as soon as possible.
Dudes, I cried myself to sleep the other night because I got a little hint, a little tip, a hot tip. On the street, a little birdie came and told me that a website had some pre-orders for the digital edition, which is what I want. I want that fucking digital edition. So I actually went to the website. I managed to secure myself a fucking pre-order, put it in the basket, and then the website told me to make an account, which I did, and then it emptied out the basket. It just fucking flushed the basket away, and there were no more pre-orders left, and I cried myself to sleep, and I still cry myself to sleep every night since then. So
yeah, that sucks, dude. That's the worst as well, because you have your hope is rewarded because you've got it in the basket,
dude,
and then to lose that.
It was
horrible.
within my grasp. I was like fucking cliffhanger, all right? Going way back. I was cliffhanger, and just with my fucking two little fingers fucking lifting me up on that cliff. But nah,
did you do the Sylvester Stallone like, as you were like trying to pull that basket through?
I think that was a little bit before I went to bed, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh, come on. So I'm not going to inquire any further.
Hey, I call it the Sylvester Shrug. What do you want from me, all right?
The Sylvester Shrug. Is it just because it leaves your face looking like his halfway through?
Yeah, exactly. Like I've had a stroke for approximately 10 seconds.
I mean, you've had a stroke, all right.
Jesus. I didn't want to know this much about Chris.
How did I not call it the Sylvester Stroke? That makes much more sense.
Yeah,
I'm an idiot.
Well, no, it's all right. What did you call it? The shrug?
Yeah, the shrug.
The shrug.
I feel like a shrug kind of works. It's got it has a similar feeling about it. I was going to say, though, I feel like the talking about Japan, and I feel like Japan are kind of really true to form here in terms of the information they're giving back about, hey, just so you know, all reserves are completely gone and we had a lottery system to begin with. I think the thing that sucks about our situation, I guess, more specifically your situation, Chris, is here, at least in the UK, no one has a fucking clue what's going on with a PS5. Like, no one knows what physical stores are going to do with their stock now that lockdown started again. No one knows, lots of people still don't know whether they're going to be more waves, whether they're going to be more waves, like, before release date, on release date, in the time between release date and Christmas.
Yeah.
Like, it's a fucking shit show at the moment.
Yeah, like, all I'm hoping for now is that there's going to be, I'm hoping for two things. I'm hoping that there's going to be stock on the day of release that I can maybe get my hands on. But I'm also hoping that I'm going to have the money for it, boys, because, I might have to start selling my body, is what I'm saying.
Like, Jamie can give you some tips for that. So
I mean,
does anyone want some of my Sylvester sauce?
I'll take you out on the streets with me for like a couple of nights and just show you the ropes.
Yeah.
I'll introduce you to some of my favorite clients.
Do I need to wear fishnet stockings?
You don't
definitely
need to,
don't.
but it helps.
Okay. Because I was going to say, if you said no, that's almost a bit of a deal breaker for me. I only ever walk the streets with fishnet stockings. So.
Right, I see. Okay, just be ready to shave your legs. It's a necessary component of the stockings element.
I don't know. I kind of think that there's a market out there for that kind of thing, though. You know.
Chris,
No?
I have to ask: would you serve people first come, first serve, or would you serve them with a lottery system? Because if you're anything like Japan and the PlayStation 5 pre-orders, you'll be going with a lottery system as opposed to the just serving people who've got more money at the beginning.
This has gone completely off the rails, but yes, it would be a lottery system, but it would also be first come, first served. So hey, fucking there it is. Boys, I don't know. I just want to.
I have to, because I want to ask you guys about this before you move off it. Because I want to say, so I didn't realize that this was not about you walking the streets, about the PS5 pre-orders in Japan, but the way that they do their system. So the way that they apparently, you go and you say that you want a pre-order and then it's a lottery. Is that, to me, is a much better way of doing it than what we do, whereby you have to be on the website at 1 minute past midnight when it goes live, whatever time it is. Because then that allows all the touts, or not touts, what do you call them? I don't know, like
the scalpers.
Buy up the scalpers, people who buy up all the units and then sell them off. They can get in there.
It's a much fairer system, right? Because it kind of levels the playing field. Because I can tell you that the first wave of PlayStation pre-orders, I couldn't get to because I was in Greece, okay? And I just didn't have my phone phone with me and, couldn't connect to Wi-Fi, blah, blah, blah. The second wave of pre-orders I missed because I was at the airport getting on a plane coming back from Greece. And it's like, so I just completely missed out. Whereas, do you remember before they actually took the pre-orders, there was this thing, and I think it was only for the States, to be fair to them, but it didn't even pan out in the States, where you could register your interest with your PlayStation ID, and then they said, this will get you basically in a queue. Well, that never fucking happened. That was a complete lie.
No, that did happen for some people. Yeah. It just happened weirdly.
It's just this whole thing is like just such a fucking clusterfuck. But hey, you know what? It hasn't altered anyone's perception of the PlayStation 5. If anything, it's actually worked to their advantage because it's just made people fucking thirsty for it, right?
True.
Yeah, that's very true. But I mean, even if you were saying you were on a plane, like I tried to do a pre-order online the second that it went out for release. Jamie and I were actually playing a game online at the time. He managed to log in and put a pre-order in. I couldn't because every website I tried to get onto wouldn't let me on because it had so much traffic. And so I ended up waiting until the next morning and I couldn't pre-order because they were all sold out. So it was an absolute mess. And if you said to me I could have got like a ticket that gave me a chance of getting one, but it was a lot fairer system, I think I'd go for that. I think it's quite a good way of doing it.
Yeah, I probably would have gone for it as well. Like even the way that I ended up having to do it, like it was a weird workaround where the website I was using was also experiencing traffic issues, but traffic issues that affected people logging in and using their accounts. Which I guess most people want to do when they're kind of buying something from a website and spending that much money. You want to be able to track your orders and shit like that. So if you put it in your basket, went to check out, and then went to log in, it wouldn't let you. If you just went to the website and went to log in, it wouldn't let you. So what I did was, I guess, something not a lot of people are doing was checking out as without an account as a guest, having to put all my credit card details in at that point, and it went through.
Right.
And as of yet, I still haven't heard. I don't know, maybe I'm being dumb, but I'm still waiting for the day where I get an email being like, yeah, we oversold and we all Sony underdelivered and you're on the chopping block, my friend. Yeah. And then it's just like, well, that would really suck because I've spent however long it's been, a month, 2 months thinking I've got one. I haven't planned for an alternative, but yeah.
Well, can I give you an update as to the way that it's gone down with me and my pre-order? Cause,
unique.
I'll have to, So in the end, I had to go in store. So this is a game in the UK. I couldn't log in. I had exactly the issue you said, Jamie, as we were chatting online at the time. Yeah. I couldn't log into my account. You were doing it as a guest at the time, and I wanted to do the pre-order. Couldn't do it, so I went into the store the next day. As soon as the doors opened, I was in there. I did the pre-order. But then was like, am I going to get one? Because I don't know if I'm now back at the queue because of online pre-orders, etc., etc. But Game actually, because of the lockdown in the UK, they sent out emails to say, we're not allowed to open on release day, so you need to come into store before Thursday, midnight on Thursday, or I guess midnight on Wednesday, to pay for your pre-order, which I then got a raffle ticket and my receipt, like
a raffle ticket?
A literal raffle ticket, right, with a number on it that was stapled to my receipt. And I then have that I need to bring back on release day. Okay,
but that's not a raffle ticket then. That's just a...
I think it is. No, see, I reckon it is a raffle ticket. I think what they're going to do is give you by working out who came and who paid when dictates what number raffle ticket you get. So if, like Jamie said, they get a lower allocate or they receive a lower amount than they were allocated by Sony, that the people who have later numbers won't get their pre-orders. That's my theory anyway.
You know what I would imagine, going by my previous luck with these kinds of things where I had managed to get a pre-order, is that the pre-orders are going to stuff out somehow, but they are going to have plenty allocation on launch day for people dropping in and buying, right?
But they can't. So you can't do that in the UK
sure.
though, which is the
but
issue,
like
right?
online. Let's say online, so they'll have a specific portion set out for online, and if I just order it online and buy it, it'll come straight away. But then the people that have pre-ordered it, if they're on a raffle system and it's like, oh well, all the pre-order units have been allocated and now we don't have any left, so we have, you're shit out of luck. That's happened to me.
I hope they don't
something
do stuff
similar like that to it has happened to me before, and I was absolutely fucking mortified. But
I don't know.
There you go.
Yeah, that would be real bullshit. I think the lockdown element is the thing that confuses it here, because then it's like, what even is the relevance of quote unquote launch day or release day when people aren't going anywhere? Like this stuff needs, if it's all online, it needs to be posted anyway. So if in that respect, the day before launch day basically becomes the launch day for online stuff, right? Like,
Oh, right. Yeah, for sure.
Because of how quick these things take to get out. I don't know. Because that's the other thing I'm really panicking about is trusting the fucking mail. Like, of course, like something's going to happen where, like, when you get that, you sit by the door for 16 hours and then you get an email being like, I knocked, but you weren't there. And you just think,
sorry,
I want to kill
you.
myself. Yeah, you didn't fucking miss me. You didn't even show up. That picture of my front door's a lie.
I had that. I don't know if I told you guys at the time, but when I was doing giveaway, like I gave away Zombicide Black Plague, which is like a pretty chunky board game. And I'd sent it through, I can't remember even who I used, but I'd sent it to someone in London who'd won it. And so I sent it to them, not even that far away. And then I tweeted them like a while after the fact and sort of said, oh, you never sort of, because often people would respond and go, amazing, here's a picture of me getting it. Thank you so much for winning. Because I think a lot of people still thought it was a lie that I was even going to send them stuff. So then he was jazzed about winning it, but then he never said anything about getting it. So I just sort of said, oh, did you get it? And then he said, oh, actually, I didn't get it yet. I didn't want to bug you about it. And I was like, I sent it 3 weeks ago, and I basically got in touch with the delivering company, and they said, yeah, we tried to deliver it like 3 times, and this is during lockdown. And the guy was like, well, I've literally been sat in my house for those 3 weeks.
Yeah, no fucking
They haven't tried to deliver it.
Exactly. Jesus.
So he had to go to them and pick it up in the end.
But Jamie's right though, because now they got to take a picture of the front door to kind of prove that they were there. But I swear to God, so I got a new phone recently, okay? Google Pixel 5, very nice. And it arrived 3 days later because for 2 days in a row, the guy was like, oh, well, I came, but there was no one home. I'm like, you fucking dog. I know that I was at home the whole fucking time. And then I checked the thing and they take a picture of the door. And I'm like, what did they fucking do? Did they walk over here, take a picture of the door and walk straight back into the van because they couldn't be fucking asked to speak to a person? You
know how people have these video doorbells nowadays that record everything? There's a clip that went viral in the last week of a woman, a female delivery driver. That's not really relevant, but I mean, if you hate women like I do, then maybe it helps out to the...
wow.
I'm joking.
I'm glad you said I'm joking. Just these days, it's good to just double check.
No, I was like, why the fuck did I mention her gender? Then I felt like I had to double down on it as part of it. It's called humour, lads.
Yeah, so you made it worse. Okay, I got you.
I made it worse. She walks up to this front door, puts down a package, takes 2 steps back, takes a picture of the package outside the front door, puts the phone away, picks up the package again, and then walks away with it. So basically pretends to deliver it with photographic evidence and then steals it.
Wow, what an idiot.
That's filth.
To be fair, on that occasion, I think it was like... It was a service we don't have out here, but I think they referred to it as DoorDash, which I believe they might be people who go to restaurants that don't deliver and buy the food for you.
Yeah.
We did that once when we were in America, Jonesy and I, with Rasheen back in the day, and ordered Taco Bell through, I think it's called Postmates, and that worked the same way. But they clearly just as someone who fancied a free meal and was like, I'm going to abuse the system.
Well, yeah, because the thing is, if you contact the company, like let's say Postmates or whatever, I think their policy, so I know Deliveroo's policy is just like, oh, well, we'll just refund you or we'll send the order again. To them, they don't really give a shit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah. I had it, actually, it's funny, I had it with a curry where I ordered a curry and then the guy came and said that he'd been to deliver it and I called up the restaurant and we're like, you haven't. I've been sitting in my door is right next to the sort of a window at the front of the house, so you can see. So I spoke to the manager, and he was like, "The guy was there for 10 minutes trying to get your attention. No one answered, etc., etc." And then he tried to deliver it, and then he said he tried to deliver it a second time, and he took a picture of the house, and then they sent me the picture. I was like, "Well, that's not my house."
It's the driver's house. He's like, yeah, I'm at home.
I don't even know where it was. But then the manager himself brought it back and was like, I'm really sorry. I was like, it's all right. Mistakes can be made.
That's crazy, man. Well, there we go. From PlayStations to missed curries. Guys, look, we would be remiss at this point if we didn't mention that all of this bullshittery and meandering, all this talk, all this gaming talk and lifestyle and life lessons is all made possible by the help of our lovely patrons. This show is what it is today because some lovely people decided to fund us, funding the arts like thespians. All right. And hey, you can too, if you are so inclined. Just go visit patreon.com/SuperShow and check out the tiers. We've got a Discord server. We've got a Minecraft server. We are constantly on that Discord chatting to people. We have a lot of fun. We've got some extra podcasts behind our Patreon. So if you go there, we've got something called the Super Show After Dark, where we talk about all things decidedly non-gaming. One of the highlights was a very graphic story about a lobster that gets stuck up somewhere. Shouldn't be stuck up in.
That's not for the main podcast.
Well, but guys, I'd like to just give a shout out a few names here, okay? Because these people are really kind of keeping the dream alive. These are our patron saints. I'm talking about AIM, Aaron Cameron, Athletic Gravy, Brett Z, full stop, Freddie K Official, Hacksaw Book Reed, Jesper Cam, Don Nielsen, Leo Merger, Lonnie Thompson, Manuel Guerrero, Smartin Skihan, and Mindful Pig, Nathan Pierce, Scary Omen, Starfall Kid. And then the two big boys, I love them so much. Honestly, if I could have them, like I'd necklock them and just be like, oh, you guys, oh yeah. I'm talking about Peaswad and the Dude Abides. Thank you so much, one and all. You're keeping the dream alive.
Why did you have to make that so homoerotic? Like, what's going on between you, Peaswad,
I'm comfortable with my sexuality. I don't know I don't know what you're on about.
I mean,
I'd like to see them carry Chris around. To be fair, for a while, just carry him around under each arm.
Oh, I see.
He would. His feet would be off the floor, wouldn't they?
What's the film you always bring up?
With him.
You know what I thought would be really cool?
Body.
Go on.
Sorry, what's that?
You broke up a little bit then.
Yeah, Chris, your internet's wigging out today, man.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, boys. It's work from home. The work from home life. No, I was going to say one thing that I'd really like to do is get like two tall people that are the exact same height. Okay, so let's say I guess Jamie and Jonesy, you guys are like.
Don't insult me with that. What?
He is like half a foot bigger than me. He's massive.
Jonesy, you're what? 5'8", 5'9"?
Do one. I'm 5. Well, I'm about 5'11". Thank you very much.
About 5'11".
James about 6'3".
Let the record show that Jonesy's 5'10". Then, if he's about 5'11".
I think I'm actually 5'10 and a half, but I wasn't going to say the half because that makes me sound like my 4-year-old who goes, "I'm 4.5".
Yeah. Anyway, get two people the same height and get a bed sheet. Get them to hold either side of it, and then I could just jump in like a hammock.
I guess so. You want to be some sort of like weird ancient king who just gets carried around.
Yeah, why not?
Wouldn't they also have to be really strong?
Yeah. Well, no, not necessarily, because if they're back to back, right, and then you're holding it like you're holding like a sack, then that's less than if you're just holding it above in front of you like that, right? Because then that's like
what?
That's more like triceps.
This is such a unique little scenario you've created here. I'm kind of fat. Isn't that just what a hammock is? Like, why not just get? What's wrong with an actual hammock?
It's just not as.
Hold on. So they stand 3 feet apart, and then you lay down horizontally in between them in a hammock with plenty of space above your head and below your feet.
Yeah,
and then they stand there holding the sheet over their shoulders.
Yeah.
And then you have a little sleep in the hammock in the middle.
Yeah, and they can like rock me to sleep if I struggle.
Deary me.
Right.
This is like when Bruno interviews that woman from American Idol. I forget what her name is. And they sit on those Mexican workers and they start serving food on them. Like, you have this weird obsession with like...
I forgot about that.
I could just get a hammock, but how much better would it be if two men hold it for me on either end?
Shirtless... oiled men. Guys, let's just move on, okay? Because I don't know why you brought this up in the first place. Comment of the week comes from Keizo Audio. That outside Xbox list that we were mentioning in the previous podcast, we were talking about like how there were some list videos that just had like the most ridiculous fucking names. And Keizo Audio wanted to explain the one that we called out as being absolutely fucking weird, saying that list was actually saying the ways games explain why you lost your powers in the sequel. Because obviously, you boot up a sequel to a game, you can't have the same kind of power that you had at the end of the last game. It kind of pegs you down a bit. So that does make sense. But
hold on, because can I actually read the name of the list that they had, though, just in case people don't remember? Because they titled their video 7 Ways Sequels Explained Why You Suck Now.
Yeah, which is why we called it up, because we said, is that even fucking English? Like, it's weird. It's bizarre.
It is a strange title.
I kind of went down a little bit of a rabbit hole just for a couple of seconds, and I found another interestingly titled list. How about this one, fellas? 7 embarrassing idle animations your heroes wish you hadn't seen.
I love that. I love that idea of that the little character is there going, oh, he's looked.
Is that like when Sonic gets really bored and starts tapping his foot and looking at his watch? Is that?
Yeah, except I think it's probably like when you wait a little bit longer and then Sonic thinks he's alone and then he pulls down his trousers and he starts.
I see.
He starts doing the Stallone shrug, you know.
I can say no one has ever patched a game because they made the game and then were embarrassed by the idle animation and felt the need to change it.
You know what the best thing about that video is? 15 minutes long, so 2 minutes per an entry.
Wow.
I mean, weren't ours usually about 2 minutes? We used to make 12-minute long. We used to make 15-minute long 6 lists. Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah, no, but
our titles were also as bad as these. In some respects,
I beg your pardon, they were not. They were quality. No, but I guess what I'm saying is, when we were coming up with 6 list ideas, we knew that like an idea would be like, yeah, we could make this list, but how much are you going to talk? Like, if we had to put this one up for discussion, I know that the answer we would say to each other is like, how much can you possibly fucking talk about an idle animation? Oh, Sonic wagged his finger at you because you're taking too long.
Yeah, we probably would have had that discussion. You're right.
I'm also going to say that anyone who's ever listened to this show before would know that we could probably make that video last about half an hour.
Oh, hold on. SuperShow could. But ATG, we're on a different... thought train there, you know?
That's true. That's very true.
But anyway, guys, you know what I want to talk about is Halloween has just passed, right? So,
right.
You know, happy
Thank
Halloween.
God.
Yeah, Jamie famously does not like Halloween, but there we go. Which you did actually discuss in one of our upcoming After Darks.
I went a little bit too hard on it. What was really just my disdain for like temporary Halloween themed events and the act of dressing up came out in a slightly stronger fashion. I regret that, but that's part of the After Dark guarantee, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Anything goes.
No, Jamie's he's making this up. You know, usually at Halloween, he has to chase kids off with a broom to keep them away from his house.
Get off my lawn!
No, you get it wrong. I chased them into my house.
Did you ever watch that movie?
Oh, right.
Did you guys ever watch that? You chased them into your house? Wow, okay, it's gone a bit Fritzl now. I was going to say, did you ever watch that movie Gran Torino?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah, with Clint
Eastwood as an angry old man.
Yeah.
That is Jamie at Halloween.
That's Jamie through and through.
Just getting angry at all the Asians that have moved into my goddamn neighborhood.
Wow. He's doing a bit from the show, so don't worry.
That's what the film's about. That's what the film's about.
Is it?
Yeah, basically.
That is exactly
he ends up being friends with the nice ones, but there are some mean ones too.
And that is what the film's about. Racist old Clint Eastwood. And then he, yeah.
And lessons were learnt on both sides. Anyway, the reason I bring up Halloween, because I never thought it would happen, but Dota got updated with a Halloween event. And I'm losing my mind because they haven't done a Halloween event in like, what was it, like 5 years, maybe a little bit longer? 5 years? 5, 6 years? Anyway, they've released Dietide, and it has pretty much brought back everyone that has left the game in the past 6 months, because there's been a spike in people coming up. And who would have thought that, a game developer showing their actual player base just a little bit of love, just giving them a little bit of something for free.
You mean not just squeezing them for money?
Yeah, exactly. Would actually bring them back instead of pushing them away. So I'm really glad about this. I think it's going on until like middle of December or end of... maybe beginning of December. I don't fucking know. Anyway, I got at least a good month of Dietide, and that's what I've been caning it. I've been playing a lot of Dietide. It's a whole lot of fun. It's a flip up on the usual MOBA mode where you got to try and get candy, and then there's a big giant monster called Roshan who wants the candy from you, but then you also need to steal the candy from the other team, and then you at the end of the round you have more candy than the other one, and you win, and it's best of 3, and it is quality. That's all I have to say on that. So
cool.
There you go.
I don't know why.
Nice.
Like, I don't know why I can't take Dota stuff like seriously anymore. I fully believe you. I fully believe how excited you are. I fully believe it's quality. But when you talk about Valve giving you guys, Dota fans specifically, a little bit of something back, it sounds like you're talking about a drug dealer who, over the course of like a number of years, like let's say they predominantly sell cocaine, they started cutting it with more and more shit. And so the actual quality of the coke's getting weaker and weaker and weaker. And they've come back to you and said, hey, for the next month, we're going to give you a good old cocaine like the old days. And everyone's like, this is great. This is great. I'm not snorting like half an ounce of talcum powder every week. Like,
yeah. No, honestly,
but then you're happy about it.
But yeah, but everyone else is looking on like, dude, you're happy that your cocaine dealer isn't fucking you over anymore. Like, why don't you just stop doing cocaine?
Jamie, I will tell you, you fucking hit the nail exactly on the head because that's what it feels like. Playing the game makes me feel like I'm on cocaine, first of all. Good old dietine. It's a great game mode. But it's without getting into dangerous territory, it's almost like being in an abusive relationship with good old Gabe.
I wasn't going to say it, but I was thinking it as you were talking about it.
Did you guys ever watch that movie? So if you haven't noticed, this is the movie callback episode. But did you ever watch that movie Black Snake Moan?
Yes, with Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, Samuel L. Jackson wearing the wife beat. Yeah, Christina Ricci is wearing the wife beat. He's got that fucking chain. That's Gabe. And you know who I am? Christina Ricci. Just fucking getting slapped around.
The only difference is that Gabe is on a yacht worth hundreds of millions of dollars and just like slamming the side of it, yelling at you to give him more money.
Yeah. That dude's chilling in New Zealand, and he is so thankful for the New Zealand government, as we've covered before. He's going to host a concert for everyone in New Zealand for free with a whole bunch of artists, so good old Gabe. But he's also going to launch a gnome into outer space, so go figure that one.
Well, that Gabe moves in mysterious ways, man.
That's the beauty of having stupid money, you know? Enough money that it just makes you do stupid shit. So
but also like, is the gnome element there part of the thank you? Because how does that benefit the people of New Zealand?
Well, this is weird, right? Because it was an achievement in, I believe, Half-Life 2 about the gnome and fucking sending into space or some shit like that. And it's just like a callback to there. I don't know.
Right.
Fucking
there was some gnome in some. I remember there was some Left 4 Dead shit where you could like carry a gnome from all the way through one of the levels, and it was
that's probably what it is. I don't even fucking remember, dude.
Maybe it's in all that Valve stuff at some point. I don't know. Oh, it's what a weird. At least, Christian, the first step on your journey and your road to recovery is admitting it, and you know you've got a problem, and we can work from that. Yeah,
but here's the thing, right? Because it's almost like at the I've gone back to the romance stage of any addiction where you say to yourself, I'm going to fucking do this forever because I'm riding that high, baby. Dietide. It's fucking
makes you feel invincible.
Nothing's ever going to change. Everything is going to be like this forever and it's going to all be great.
Except when dietide goes away and then I'm left crying myself to sleep each night again. So, you know.
Yeah.
I'm a sad person. But anyway, what about you guys? Have you been playing any games?
Go on, Jamie.
I've got one that I can quickly scratch off the list just because I still kind of have held off going hard onto any real proper outright, like putting money into anything, for example, like the game that Joe's going to talk about in a bit, largely because I'm still kind of fluctuating between a few different situations on my side of things, and it's like I don't want to. Part of me doesn't want to put money into games right now. The other part of me can't afford to put money into games right now. So luckily the two are kind of in tune with one another, and the net result is I spent a little bit of time this week playing something free to play, which once again we are characteristically late to the party on, and that's Genshin Impact.
Oh, that's the Chinese Breath of the Wild clone.
Yeah, in fact, you've pretty much just said all that I would have to say about this game, which is that it is a free-to-play game that is essentially Breath of the Wild with a very anime-like art style and means of presentation. It's free to play, like I said. It's on PS4, PC, and iOS, I believe. And I think there might be cross-play or at least cross-progression between the PC and the iOS and Android versions.
Nice.
It's really kind of like simple, and it's not monetized in a way that's particularly annoying. And for a free-to-play game, they've actually put a surprising amount of work into the world and a lot of the mechanics and the ideas. It's it's not like Breath of the Wild necessarily once you're actually playing it. It's just clear that they got a lot of their ideas from it in terms of the way the world is presented, things like stamina and gliding and things like that, and climbing that are right out of there.
Can you climb anything?
You can climb anything, and it uses stamina in the same way.
Yeah.
Kind of like, do you remember when we were talking about Immortals Phoenix Rising and saying, hey, Ubisoft made a Breath of the Wild. This is like, hey, this Asian company made a Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
They've got some of their own ideas. They do a lot of stuff with elemental powers because one of the concepts of the game is that you're actually controlling multiple characters at once. You switch out between them through the D-pad, and they all have like control over a different element. So you can combine elements, or you can specifically use elements that are strong against certain enemy types.
Yeah.
The combat, though, is fairly... Like, you've got one... I guess it's... I was going to say it's really kind of simple, but I guess Breath of the Wild isn't complicated either. You've only got one attack button, for example, and then one outright attack button, and then you've got two kind of special attack buttons that are on cooldowns of different natures.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's fine. I wanted to try it because it got a lot of hype and interest in recent weeks and months, and I just wanted to see what the
I've been resisting the urge to get onto it, to be honest, because I just like that kind of Breath of the Wild gameplay loop. Although I haven't finished Breath of the Wild, so I might as well just fucking go back to that.
You never finished Breath of the Wild?
Yeah, I kind of got to this thing where it's like I didn't want... I know it's stupid because it's one of those games where you can beat Ganon and just carry on, but I just didn't want to finish it. I don't know. And then...
Jonesy
that's what happens when games are a little bit... That's
what
happens when games are a little bit boring.
Wow.
No, Jonesy, you said that the other day about Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon. You admitted the exact same thing.
No, I was just messing around there. We get to the point where you don't want to... You feel like if you cross that line, if you finish that game, it's kind of like the end of. But I think with Blood Dragon's a little bit different in that the game says you can't go back once you do it. End. Whereas I think Breath of the Wild, like you're saying, you can.
But here's the pathetic thing, fellas, okay? Now, obviously, this wasn't my intention, but how it's worked out was I stopped playing because I knew that once I beat Ganon, that I would stop playing the game. But then,
so you've done it anyway by not doing it.
Because I was like, I'm going to stop playing and then I'll come back to it. And like, I haven't gone back to it since stopping all the way back then. When did that come up? 2018? 2017?
17.
Jeez Louise.
It's I jest, but I didn't mind that game. I thought it was fine. I must admit, like,
one of the best games ever made, Alex Jones.
I mean, that's mental, but I put a decent number of hours into it. And I liked it for what it was, but I would say the reason I didn't go back to it was because I just found it a little bit repetitive and a bit boring.
I got a Jonesy, before we... Actually, what have you been playing? And I'll bring up my point afterwards.
So I managed to get my teeth into a little bit more Watch Dogs. I talked about it briefly last week, and I'd only sort of played a sort of like 45 minutes or so, but I think I'm now up to about sort of 5 to 6 hours with it. And yeah, it's a cool game. I'm enjoying Watch Dogs. I feel that the reaction from some of the YouTubers and streamers that I've seen that is very positive about the game is maybe more of due to the state of games and releases at the moment, and the fact that people have got a bit of a hole and they're waiting for the next generation to come out, and Cyberpunk's been pushed, and so people are trying to like it maybe a little bit more than is deserved. Like it's a fun game. I've had a good time with it. London is excuse me. The London they've created is very cool. We talked about before, I think, how some of those characters are a little bit or could have been a little bit iffy in the way they use stereotypes and they portray Londoners. But it's actually fine. Like, I think it works quite well and it differentiates people in a decent way. Okay. No one's boring.
Give me some criticism of the game, okay? Because you've just said a lot of YouTubers, they kind of like praise the game.
I will move on,
Let's get some criticism going. What don't you like about it? What's dog shit about it? What about it is watchdog shit? Yeah?
So the watchdog shit is for me it is repetitive in the sense of a lot of the missions that you're doing, even though you go to a different places, you're effectively doing a lot of the same stuff, which is you're going onto cameras, looking around the place, and then you might have to go and download some information from a computer, which is the same process. You stand by it, push a button, or use your spider bot to go and access a terminal.
A little progress bar.
Exactly, and then it goes into the little route thing. Or you go and I said to you guys the other day about I've had a few recruitment missions, which kind of go exactly the same way, which is you have to go and get this car from someone, and then the guy says to you, "Oh, now you drive it in the Thames because that's what I've decided." And I've had that a few times. Or even releasing, it'll be, "Oh, I had a friend or I had a partner and they've disappeared. I need DedSec's help," and they're effectively just at the top of an area, and you have to get up to the top of the area, avoid the enemies, take out the enemies, and then free them, and then escort them out of the area.
That sounds pretty shit, I must be honest.
I don't really enjoy those. They're pretty dry, and also the AI for the NPCs in those sections are dumb as anything. Like some of the fun of the game is how wacky it can be, I think.
Yeah.
And they've played that up like in a good way. So for example, very early on in the game, you can access these cargo drones, which are massive platforms that move slowly, but you can fly above the whole city on them. And you can get to really high places and locations. But there's also these like cherry pickers that you sort of can drive around and you can take control of, and they raise up and they lower. And so I got on one of them and I thought, this is quite funny. So I drove into an area on one of those, parked it right by a platform, and then got to the NPC like super quickly, took out the only one guard there. And I bypassed, like say 10, 20 guards down below, and then got the NPC to follow me, and they just wouldn't get on the cherry picker. And I had no idea, and they just wouldn't. They just kept running into a wall. And then I had a few times where on a different one of those missions where the NPC kept going the wrong way, and it kept telling me that you're losing the person. I'm like, all they had to do was follow me down the stairs. What are they doing? And they kept getting stuck, and it was a bit odd.
That sounds like one of those things where RPGs do this all the time, isn't it? Where you've got to escort someone, but their walking speed is faster than your walking speed, but slower than your running speed.
That's the worst, man.
I don't know. You have a run and stop.
Yeah, so you let them get ahead of you. You rob a banter, right? You let them get ahead of you, and then you run, hit into them, and then you just wait until they just kind of go again. It's like this is the most redundant bullshit I've ever played.
I can't remember what it was. I was playing some game the other day where I realized that if you sprinted ahead of it's Ghost of Tsushima, I think it was actually.
Yeah.
If you're walking side by side with someone, it makes you walk and you can't sprint, but you walk slightly faster than them. And if you get out of their sphere of influence, then you can start sprinting. So I'd be like taking shortcuts and cutting corners just to slowly get away from them. And it's like once you're 10 feet away from them, you can start sprinting again, which wasn't that useful because I think you still needed to wait for them to get to where they were going to. But at least you could like run in circles or jump around. Yeah,
man, crazy.
But those little things we talked in the After Dark about games that should look at other games and go, oh, they didn't do this very well, they didn't do that very well. But there's things even in Watch Dogs that I'm kind of like, I don't understand why they do certain things in those games the only thing I can come up with is we think games are further advanced than they really are, and they have no choice because they don't have the memory on the disc, or they don't have the time to develop the game. So they have to reuse animations, they have to reuse dialogue, so every time you talk to someone, because in case people don't know, in Watch Dogs Legion, one of the things is you can recruit anyone you come across pretty much. But you always start the conversations in basically the same way, which is to go like, what can DedSec do for you? And, some of the dialogue you say is always the same, which again is quite annoying. But the main thing I would say, and I always have problems with sandbox games like this, is where they're very open, is the main story of the game isn't massively compelling at the moment. I'm sure it will get better.
Right.
So then it's almost like you can explore the world and do a lot of what you want to do, but a lot of that stuff can be a bit boring and a bit repetitive. So whilst the game is fun, it feels a little bit like they've made a sandbox which is going to be really good for the multiplayer, which I could be completely wrong with. So it feels like they've tried to build an environment to say, when that multiplayer comes, that's going to be where you spend most of your time in sort of the post-game stuff.
Is this like there's a post-release kind of co-op or something, isn't there? Is that right?
I'm not really sure how it works, but from what I understand, it's going to be that you can infiltrate other people's games and you can hack stuff in there. And I wonder if they've made the world so it covers the campaign and the multiplayer, which means that they haven't focused as much as I wish they would have done on the main stuff. I could be completely wrong,
Here's a question for you then, Jonesy, okay? Looking at how long to beat for Watch Dogs Legion, average is about 17 hours, okay? And main and extras are 27 to 28 hours, okay? So I guess my point is, and this is what I don't understand about game devs, okay? why make a 16-hour game when you could make, say, a 12 to 14-hour game, but then you flesh out a lot more of the stuff, rather than saying, it's almost like they had a 12-hour game and they said, you know what, we've got to pump this up by another 4 hours. Let's just put in some fucking needlessly repetitive tasks and just copy-paste a lot of interactions throughout the game.
So maybe I'm saying they've done that to too much of a degree. Like I've been unfortunate in how I've found it a little repetitive, but I can see why they've done that in this. Like they need to flesh out, because the whole point of the game is be anyone, do whatever you want, try these different characters, build a team. So they have to have some repetitive stuff in there. But yeah, I kind of agree with you. They should have fleshed out some more of the main body of it. But hey, maybe it gets a lot better. Maybe once I'm 10 hours in, because I'm only like 6 hours in.
Yeah.
Maybe once I get to 10 hours in.
Oh, you mean once you hit the Alex Jones wall?
Because so one of the things that I have done, and maybe this is dictating the way that I'm playing through the game, is I'm playing with permadeath on, because I thought that would add an element to it, and it has. I actually really enjoy the fear of losing a person I like, and I've only lost one of my team members so far, and I genuinely was like, oh no, she was pretty cool. Like she was a good hacker. She had some good traits. And it sort of inspires you to scan more people and want to do recruitment missions. And if you mess up a recruitment mission, you can't recruit that person, which I like as well. But it's actually freaked me out a bit, because I'm like, if they die, they die. And you face a couple of tougher enemies that are a lot more aggressive quite early on. And like, damn, I need to change the way I'm doing this because I'm going to lose a person. But that has made me think I need to recruit more people, because if you lose your entire team, the game's over.
Oh shit!
So I've been going out, going right. I need to recruit this many people. So I failed 2 recruitment missions for stupid reasons because I was having a laugh, so I've done maybe 8 or 9 recruitment missions already. So maybe that's why I've seen some repetitive stuff already, and I'm only 6 hours in. But
yeah, it's
fun, man. I'm going to stick with it, and I'm going to see how I get on. But I want to play more. Like I'm one of those games where I want to get back into it.
Do you actually want to, like? Okay. Here's the other section of this question, right? Are you playing it because there's not much else? I mean, I know you've got a lot of games that you need to finish playing, but is this like there's nothing else new, so you're just playing Watch Dogs Legion? Or is it more a case of like, no, I really want to play Watch Dogs Legion?
I bought it because I was going to wait for Cyberpunk, and then decided, okay, I'm going to, because Cyberpunk's delayed, etc., and for other reasons as well. I was going, no, I'm going to get it to fill in a gap. But I'm surprised that I do want to play it more than I thought I would.
Okay,
if that makes sense.
That's fair. That's fair. I think that's a good indication for the game, right?
Yes, and I can see that it's going to open up in a good way from where I'm at.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Depending on what the next game on your list is, Jonesy, you've probably got at least, let's call it 5 days to finish it before the world gets set on fire. In video gaming terms, though, not like in like bad terms, because as much as I know, none of us have pre-ordered an Xbox Series X or S, and the PlayStation 5 comes out a week later for us. But this is the last episode that will come out before both the consoles are out.
Yeah.
Like this episode's going to come out on Friday. By the next episode, the next Friday, both of those consoles will have come out, and so will games like Assassin's Creed and Yakuza.
It's gonna start to get busy up in here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Boys.
But we're not going to be able to react to any of it. Like,
no, I know.
We're going to be. Yeah. Sorry, Chris.
You mentioned Yakuza, Like a Dragon. I'm super tempted, dude.
So yeah, that's because the Windows version of that, the only version of that that's not out in 5 days' time as we record this is the PS5 version.
Yeah.
So you can still play it.
Yeah, and it's been getting really good reviews, like really good reviews. And I just always wanted to get into the Yakuza, but I've never gotten into it. Not for any reason other than just didn't have the time, or other things would take my interest instead.
Trust me, if you're worried about not having the time to get into Yakuza, even playing a Yakuza game will test that, because they are long-ass experiences if you want to get everything out of them. Like, I had the same thing a couple of years ago with Yakuza 0, which I think was a lot of people's one of those, because it was sort of the first big one on PS4, and it was sort of a prequel to the whole series, so it actually served as something of an introduction to a lot of the characters that were very much known quantities by that point. And that game was kind of chaotic and fun, and it had a lot going on. But it was also very long, and I really struggled to kind of actually grind through it. And then ultimately I didn't grind through it. So when 6 came out and the Kiwami started coming out, I was like, I don't know. but the turn-based combat system of this seems potentially interesting.
The one thing that I saw that I really like about Yakuza Like a Dragon is your protagonist takes out a cell phone, fucking calls in like a shrimp or something. Yeah, does fucking one of these. Calls in a shrimp, and the shrimp comes in and starts fucking things up. And you know me, boys. I'm all about the crustaceans. I fucking love it.
Yeah, you've had a weird thing recently for seafood invading people's personal space and causing mayhem and mischief.
Listen, Fight Crab is a fun game, all right? But I just like that. I like the absurdity of it. And I think even on the box art, the main dude has like the shrimp on his shoulder or some shit like that.
Yeah.
I've never played a Yakuza game. It's never anything that's appealed to me.
Jamie, how long to beat Yakuza Like a Dragon? Main story, 45 and a half hours.
Oh, dude, yeah, like these are long games.
Completionist, 88 and a half hours. Oh my god.
Because so much of it is like the world and those mini games and side stuff and like, they're very long games.
I'm glad I looked that up because I don't want to fall into another fucking Hollow Knight trap. Where I picked up Hollow Knight because I thought it would be like a nice palate cleanser, and it turned out to be like a fucking 40-hour game. It's like, okay.
Yeah, I had a similar thing because Hollow Knight is obviously a PS Plus game this month, and they updated recently. So I was on it last night and thinking, oh, what if I started Hollow Knight as just something to bridge this gap that I'm experiencing? And I was like, I actually thought about you and your experiences with it. And I thought, actually, Hollow Knight is not something I could guarantee I could finish. Well, then.
I don't even think you'd like it, dude. To be honest, knowing your preferences.
Yeah. But then again, as much as I keep thinking like, oh, stuff's happening really soon, it is still 2 weeks for us, and that's making me think like maybe I do need to start playing something for real.
Yeah. But
although, is there anything coming out on Game Pass to coincide with the release day?
Good question.
Good
question. I guess technically speaking, Destiny 2 will be added to Game Pass with its new expansion on the 10th. Excuse me, on the 10th.
Yeah, which I said I would load up and we'd do a stream because I haven't played Destiny, and I said as soon as it goes on Games Pass, I'll play it with you, Jamie, and we can stream it.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I'm not sure.
Never mind. Well, we won't do that then.
No. I'm sorry. I'm getting distracted because I'm looking at this like list of stuff. I'm trying to remember what's Game Pass and what isn't. Like Tetris Effect Connected is Game Pass. Console version of Gears Tactics will obviously be Game Pass. There's stuff like, but then even if you're playing on PS4, there's some stuff that is going to be playable on PS4 that comes out again in 5 days' time, like Assassin's Creed, like Dirt 5. Dirt 5 actually comes out tomorrow as we record this. So games are coming out. Fuser, the Planet Coaster console edition. Weird. Apparently the remake of 13 is still slated for this week. I'd forgotten that was a thing.
Yeah, that kind of stopped being of any interest to anyone, I guess.
That's coming out on the Series X launch day, but it's not compatible with... Well, I guess it would be backwards compatible, but it's not next gen.
Yeah, well,
I don't know. Yeah.
So
if nothing else, this will be the last week before we get like this. The next time we record, we can react to embargoes dropping and reviews happening and all that stuff. So
fun, talk about something that I'm so far away from having access to. That's cool. I was thinking about it though, like even if I take a rummage down the back of my sofa and get a couple of coins and pounds and what have you, and manage to scrounge enough for a PlayStation. It's almost like, but I wouldn't be able to afford the games. But then I remembered PlayStation Plus Collection, right?
So you could buy your very expensive new console just to start playing all the games that came out years ago.
I don't mind though, because I said that I wanted to play God of War again. One of the best.
At least you have
one of the best games ever made.
Of games to play on it. If not like
have they confirmed if that's all going to be available from the word go?
Yes, it's the launch day in your respective region, PlayStation Plus Collection. And then you'll have Astro's Playroom and Bug Snacks as well.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, fucking still don't know what Bug Snacks is about, but there we go.
No one does, but that's part of the appeal of Bug Snacks.
Wow. Okay. All right. What else have we got? Okay, so talking about PlayStation, guys. So you know how the PlayStation looks kind of weird with its white shell and black insides? Well,
Yes.
there's a company, or was a company, called PlateStation. All right. And they set themselves up to sell third-party plates, because we got to see that teardown video where the small little Japanese dude just took the plates off and showed us the fan and everything. But the idea could be
That man was
if you can take the
6'5",
plates off,
Chris.
the
The PlayStation
then I'm
5
in
is just
trouble.
absolutely huge.
Then I'm in trouble. That PlayStation will crush me. But yeah, the idea is if you can take the plates off, and if they just got little connectors, as long as you have a 3D scan of what those plates are, whatever it may be, you can make plates of your own and just put them in. So that's what this company set themselves up to do, and release third-party PS5 plates of different colors, and they look pretty cool. But they've been having some branding and legal issues, presumably with PlayStation themselves, and they have had to refund all customers who have bought faceplates of various colors, which is weird.
This is so they are so dumb for calling themselves PlateStation. Like it was an easy win. They could have just called themselves anything else that wasn't an obvious sort of treading on the toes of PlayStation.
I don't know. I think they could have called themselves whatever they wanted to call themselves, and PlayStation would still be sending their lawyers after them. I have a feeling that because PlayStation don't want their hero image of their product to be altered too much, right? That's what I would imagine. That's why they're not launching with all these different colors and whatever. It's like, no, this is the white PlayStation, and you know.
But there's no way that they can stop people from having companies that make like plates to replace the white ones on the PlayStation. Like I genuinely have no idea what they could say to stop people doing it.
Do you want to know what this company have said?
Yeah, go on.
So this is after their name change, by the way, because as you said, they had to change. The PlayStation stuff didn't go down too well, and they changed.
What did they change their name to?
They changed the name briefly, it seems, to Customize My Plates, which I don't know.
The worst name in history. Oh my!
That's the biggest. Chris, you must relate, because that's the biggest hot panic name change ever. They had 30 seconds to think of the future of their company, and they were like, "You can't customize my plates."
They're getting 99% of the emails they're going to get are from grannies at Christmas who want pictures of their grandkids put onto their plates. They're like, onto their china plates. Like, you customise plates? It's like, no, that type of plate.
Yes. So basically what they have said is that, as I'm sure some of you will be finding out, due to patent and intellectual property issues, we'll be cancelling all orders and processing refunds. We'll work hard over the weekend to get this done, so please bear with us. Once complete, you'll see an email. And it looks, based on what I can see now, is that they have shifted from selling the plates themselves to essentially skins. Like, you know, there are companies like D-Brand that sell these, like, they're doing that now. They're selling vinyl skins, which, to be fair to them, looking at some of their imagery, they're clearly able to cook up slightly more exotic stuff because they're not having to, 3D print everything out of plastic. But, yeah, it seems like the plate dream is over, and I want it must be something to do with the fact that it's actually in the way that PlayStation have kind of drawn up something on their end about the PS5. Those plastic things and the way they're designed and their shape and what they're made out of must act as be considered a component of the console. And so what these guys were essentially doing were imagine if you set up a company to sell a new graphics card for the PlayStation 5 and hey, just open up your PlayStation 5 and put this inside it. Sony would be like, no.
But you can stop people doing it though. If
no, you can't stop people murdering people, Jonesy. It doesn't mean you try.
No. I mean, you've got to. I know. I can imagine that this company have gone and basically taken the plates themselves and said, because if they're now selling vinyl stickers, I wonder if what was going to happen was they were effectively just getting plates from the PlayStation or manufacturing their own ones and then sticking vinyl stickers on them and sending them back to people. And I can see that inside of a month, there'll be another company comes out and the connector is ever so slightly different so that it doesn't infringe on a patent.
Yeah.
Because it has to be something to do with the way that the plate slots into the side, and they'll just add a little nubbin that means that when you push in, it clicks twice instead of once. And then they've gotten through the patent problem and then they're manufacturing stuff. Because otherwise, how could you patent a shape of plastic?
God.
Or maybe they need to change the slight way that they're not exactly the same shape as the PlayStation ones.
Yeah.
Or there'll be something.
It's just kind of weird.
It is kind of weird, but then what PlayStation have also done, which I only found out today, was the DualSense controller themselves have the controller's black and white. Obviously, the top section is white, and then the bottom section around the joysticks is black. Those little panels, the black panels, come off as well. So you've got to imagine that those are going to be customizable, and that people will come out and make designs for those as well that can slot onto the DualSense controller. But why do it if you don't want people to do that? Why do it?
But also, it makes so little fucking sense. So on the console itself, the white portions are the plates that can come off, and then the idea would be, hey, that could be interchangeable, right, with something else. And then what they do is they say, but on the controller, it's the exact inverse, and it's the black bit that you can change, and the white bit has to stay. It just makes no fucking sense to me.
See, that to me it makes perfect sense, because you can't change the white bit, right? Because it's integrated with the buttons, the touchpad.
Yeah.
It's got the lights around it. So I would say the only bit they can get away with replacing is to have that little section which can just lift away, because it's not covering anything except for the joysticks.
Like I know the plate can be taken off, but I don't think the plate can be taken off because they wanted people to customize. So I don't think any of these decisions were made necessarily from Sony's perspective, being like, let people have their console and controller look like whatever they want. So they wouldn't have cared like the whites came off the console and the blacks came off the controller, because it wasn't what they were trying to do.
When I heard that the DualSense controller stuff was removable, I thought it was just for like mechanical reasons, like if you have to go and fix it, like that's how you kind of disassemble it and whatever. But I don't know, maybe.
I call bullshit.
But yeah, like
they 100% have done this on purpose so that they can sell aftermarket. Because think about the limited edition like PlayStations and that.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you have a market where you can keep selling people skins for games? Plates and the face plates for the controller for different games that come out. You get all excited.
No, because PlayStation don't want to sell you plates. PlayStation want to sell you other controllers, which is what they've been doing this whole.
But how much do you? But I reckon that they probably make like, how many controllers do people buy like that? Maybe one in the lifetime of the console, maybe two. If you can sell game specific license plates, like if Cyberpunk had specific PlayStation like panels that go on the side and a little matching thing for your controller. Every game that comes out, they will sell those, and you will go and you'll be able to buy. I mean, look at me, what an idiot I am. I bought a Cyberpunk chair. The game's not even out yet. There's such a market now for merch around games. I cannot imagine they wouldn't use this as a way to make extra money. And you will do it 6 or 7 times through the course of the generation. Nah, that's definitely.
Would you though?
Definitely.
Some people would. If you said to me, do I want the console that sits under my TV sideways so I can't even see the panels to look like it's representing Cyberpunk at an extra cost to me, I'd say no.
I'd do it.
You can't even see it. Like, who's it for?
Okay, but most people, this is the other thing that goes to what. So I had a Roche tweeted the other day saying like, anyone who puts their PlayStation 5 on their side is, like, whatever. Don't even talk to me.
What? Did she actually say that? What is she on about?
She said something like that.
That's mad.
Let's be nice. Let's be nice to Roche. I know what she she was saying it for the clout probably. No, not the clout.
The clout.
The retweets is what you know.
That just smacks of someone who doesn't. Who has
I get it, because
has the luxury of space.
Yeah, but no, also like that's how TV units work. Like anyone who has their TV on any kind of thing, like you don't have vertical space underneath it, you have horizontal space.
They have not made the PlayStation 5 to go under a TV. They have made a PlayStation 5 to sit upright. It's it's massive. They've made it to sit upright and be like a pinnacle of your room, and for people to walk in and go, "What is that monstrosity?" They have not. The reason they've made it with even the little thing you can rest it on and put it sideways is for people like you and me who are going, "Where's the most efficient use of space that I can put it?" Most people aren't going to do that. I think she's right. I think most people are going to put it vertical. And if you put it vertical and it's a centerpiece, you want to change those plates because you're going to be like, everyone can see it.
I'm not so sure, dude. I would imagine that a lot more people would have it horizontal than vertical.
That'd be interesting. I'd like to be, if there's a way you could, ask after the fact who's got it vertical.
Yeah, like PlayStation's got a little gyroscope in it, and it can tell. And then they release a report for like the end of year. It'll be like, well, 85% of you turned it around.
We'll just say, can everyone let us know in the comments down below if you're buying a PS5, you're gonna have it vertical or horizontal, and then we'll find out. The majority amongst our folk, and then
absolute madness.
Well, extrapolate from there because they're representative of the entire gaming population.
Yeah, clearly. All right, guys, moving on to our final news item for this week. Do you remember the game The Medium from Bloober Team?
I do remember the game The Medium from Bloober Team, Chris.
Yeah. Well, I've got another question for you guys. Do you live in Australia?
I don't live in Australia, Chris.
No. Jonesy, what about you?
I don't live in Australia, no.
Oh, well, that's a good thing then, because if you lived in Australia and you wanted to play The Medium, you can't. Because it's been refused classification for God knows whatever reason. But, The Medium is a horror game, so I could imagine it, Australia's censorship laws and classifications are kind of all over the place. So who knows? It probably like, as you're playing the game, you stick your finger up like a monster's bum or something. And then Australia's like, nope, don't want that. Don't want that in my games. I
reckon it was just that it was too scary. And the Australian Classification Board or whatever it was too bloody scary. Everyone's going to have a massive fright when they play this. And then they're just like, no, not selling it. Not happening. It's not happening.
I think it's even worse. I think the reason they couldn't classify is because they couldn't play it. So they were like, mate, I couldn't play the bloody game.
What did Jamie what did Jamie literally just say? Are you even listening to what's going on?
No, I thought Jamie was saying that he played it and said it was too scary to play. I'm saying they can't even play it because it's too scary. So they won't even do the classification.
Okay.
I'll let it slip. Do you know what? Like there's enough wiggle room in there that we can both get away with that one. I'm not going to hold it against
I think it's a technicality that they would love to classify it and they would love to do it, but the guy can't bring himself to do it.
That's an interesting point though. Like if you are that poor dude that has to classify all these games and you fucking hate horror games, it's like I'm just not going to do it. Just don't sell it in Australia. It's fine.
A lot of the time, I think nowadays, I might be wrong with this, the Australian Classifications Board were always infamously kind of anal about stuff. I think they relaxed their stance on things like violence and language at certain points, and they even introduced, one of the issues always used to be, they didn't have a certificate for people who were 18, I think, and then they introduced one, and like that kind of got rid of a lot of the problem. But I know they're still super sensitive to drugs. And I know one thing that fell foul of the same issue fairly recently was, remember Wasteland 3? It came out on Game Pass and stuff a couple of weeks ago. That I think failed at one point for drugs-related stuff, and they had to remove an item from the game or something like that, which has happened many times over the years. Fallout 3 was another one, I remember.
Yeah, because Fallout 3, I think you were saying before we started recording, was the was it morphine?
I need to check now that we're actually recording, but I want to say Med-X, I'm looking it up now, Med-X was originally called morphine, and that was an issue for the Australian Classification Board, and would have made it illegal to distribute the game of Fallout 3 in Australia, so the game was censored.
When I went to Australia, so I've been a couple of times, what always struck me about Australia is if you go into the public toilets in Australia, they've always got these little like units on the wall where you can deposit like used needles.
Poop. Oh.
And poop. I mean, depends on how far you want to go. But yeah, used needles. And I was like, oh, that's a bit weird.
That's a forward-thinking kind of way to do it.
It is very forward-thinking, but at the same time, it almost makes me think like, is every Australian just a heroin addict? I don't know.
Or maybe they're diabetic.
Oh,
maybe. Isn't that a thing quite a lot?
It's more likely for that than smackheads.
If there's an area that has a higher population of smackheads and people who do heroin and stuff like that, they're actually, in a lot of cases, they're more likely to give out and give away needles because their concern in the short term at least is not like trying to have you. If you're addicted to heroin, you can't get a new needle. You're just more likely to do the same heroin with a bad needle. Yeah. So they're actually trying to stop issues like diseases that spread through the blood and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so they'll
it's so much of a better idea. They absolutely should do that.
I think they're trying to minimize the fact that like if us three were in a room and we were shooting up heroin, but we only had one needle, we'd all use the same needle.
I don't trust either of you guys.
One
of you guys has got Hep C, guaranteed.
Maybe.
Wow.
Although I want to say one thing I did read about this story was that it could just be a technicality in the sense of like some games effectively just don't fill out the form right because it was a remote filing for classification.
Oh, right. Okay. Well,
so it could just be like because no one has responded and said that.
Well, if that's the case, then so glad
is.
we added it in our news portion of the.
Well, I don't think that's what it will be, but I think it's important. It could be that. It's unlikely, right? Because it's Australia, but it's very possible.
I remember there was a story, a weird one about fucking Psycho, right? Psycho almost got refused the classification for numerous reasons, obviously, but one of the reasons was because it showed a flushing toilet.
Oh, okay.
And that was apparently a big no-no. And I think it was the first film to have a flushing toilet shown, like committed
Why can't you
to
have a
film.
flushing toilet?
That's just the
No one knows toilets flush.
Was there a floater in it?
It's a floater. No, I think it was just back then it was this whole thing about like common decency, right? Like, oh, you mustn't fucking talk about shitting and toilets.
Yeah.
And
It's
stuff.
so the days when you had people like that deciding what you could see and what you could hear. That's insanity. I couldn't imagine that.
It's funny though because this conversation is almost making like me go full circle and thinking back to how we were talking about outside Xbox lists at the start, and one of like the famous go-to lists for any self-respecting video game list maker is games that got banned for weird reasons in other countries.
Yeah, we've done those. We did multiple.
Dude, so some of them like stick out. The two that stick out in my mind indefinitely was EA's MMA game before they got the UFC license that was banned in Denmark because it had energy drink branding inside the arenas, and that was illegal there. And the other one, I think it's Football Manager, was banned in China. It might still be banned in China because it recognized Tibet as a nation. I think that was another one.
Yeah,
right.
Taiwan as well, I think probably were recognized as independent countries. And then Jonesy, you almost added to that list the other day with Devotion.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, that was less so being banned and more like a kind of a weird. They weren't banned. They were just forced out through taking away every avenue they had to actually get the game out there.
Well, so they were banned from existing, basically. But yeah, why don't you give us a brief rundown? So for anyone who doesn't know, Jonesy made a short form video, return to form from the old ATG days with a less than 5-minute video on our YouTube channel. So go check it out. But yeah, Jonesy, give us the gist of it, right? The gist.
I did. So, for anyone who hasn't seen that video, first of all, go check it out for the full video if you want to hear about the story. But as a little rundown, there was a Taiwanese game company called Red Candle Games who made a game called Devotion, which was their sort of second horror game they'd made. Originally, they made a 2D side-scrolling game called Detention, I think in 2017, which did very well, were well received. So they followed it up with a 3D first-person game, which I have played half of, and is actually a very good game. Like, I genuinely enjoyed it, if was also slightly terrified. But it's like an atmospheric horror, and you wouldn't think there's much wrong with it. It's set in Taiwan, and it sort of captures, I suppose, it's supposed to capture as well a slice of like what Taiwan was like in the 80s. The game covers sort of different time periods. All of this is fine. Shouldn't be any problems.
Yeah.
One thing they did do, though, was they used... And I could see us doing this if we made a game. They used like assets in the production of the game that weren't supposed to be in the final product. And one thing they had done was to make so it's sort of like, I suppose it's like a piece of paper with some Chinese characters on it, and it was a joke version of one of those, which is supposed to invoke. It's almost like I don't know what you call them. It's like a talisman thing that would invoke powers and make something happen, right? So it's almost a bit like in some Taiwanese sort of religious, cultural sort of. I don't even know what they're called.
Folklore.
But the idea is that you have these symbols and they mean different things, and you can use them to make stuff happen or to bring you good energy or whatever it is. And in this sort of jokey one they made, it references Xi Jinping and Winnie the Pooh, which was a meme going on at the time when they made the game about how he looks like Winnie the Pooh, and it invoked some gods and then said something about someone's mother, and it was all a bit confused, but people took this to mean that it was saying Xi Jinping is an idiot or his mum's an idiot, and so
wow.
Which apparently
you said it, mate. You said it. I'm gonna be safe.
It doesn't even say that. Apparently, I watched a breakdown of the video, and apparently, what it actually says is nothing to that degree. It's almost like it almost calls Winnie the Pooh and Xi Jinping good gods, and it was it's just a big joke. It's just it's not even that bad. But there was a whole load of patriotic Chinese players who played it, saw it, and were like, "What is this?" And there's a lot of pressure put onto the company to remove the stuff from the game. So they went away and started to do that, but subsequently the Chinese government found out about it, and they had some really bad shit happen. Like the distributors pulled out, the people that were publishing the game, they had their license revoked to even sell games. They got pulled off the Steam store in China, which then got pulled off the Steam store in the rest of the world.
Yeah,
and
their family was executed. Yeah.
It wasn't anything quite that explicit, but they did go on to sell the game physical copies only, specifically in Taiwan, for a couple of months earlier this year, and that was it basically. Yeah. And the game is never going to see the light of day. Well, chances are it's never going to see the light of day.
Alex Jones, thanks for that longer explanation than the actual video that you.
There were genuinely details in what you just said that weren't in the video that I was like, okay, interesting.
I had to keep it. I had to try to keep it brief. Like punchy.
It is a very good video though, so I recommend everyone go and.
It's also got visuals of the game, and so you can see my actual recording footage from playing the game, which will give you some insight into it. Before we finish though, can we touch on something, because I didn't know this, and this is relevant to the story we just talked about with the plates for the PlayStation 5. We were sort of saying, is it going to happen? Are they intending for plates to be made? I did not know, but the PlayStation 4 has removable plates, and they have limited editions and special editions plates which are officially sanctioned and sold by PlayStation.
The thing slides off because you're meant to. You can change the hard drive in the PS4. Yes. Like that's how you get into it.
Yeah.
So, but I didn't know you could do that. So I'm looking at the No Man's Sky custom faceplate right now. They 100% have done this on purpose, that they're going to sell game-specific plates for that PlayStation 5. Now that I've seen this, 1,000,000,000%.
I mean, maybe. So?
Not maybe. They've tried to do it and no one did it because it's rubbish, because you can only replace like 1/3 of one face of the PS4. They're definitely doing this on purpose.
Oh, man.
I don't know. Even if they're, like I said, even if they're doing it on purpose, I still think there's a huge proportion of people who will look at that and be like, yeah, I'm not spending money on it though. Like,
Smart people like me will go out and spend.
But then for every one of us, there's someone like Roisin who has built a podium for her PlayStation that will stand vertical and upright with a spotlight shining directly on it and a velvety red rope surrounding it so that no one can get within 5 feet of it.
And I will be one of those velvety rope people as well. No, I wouldn't. My kids would destroy my PlayStation in no time at all. They'd be like, "What's this?" and shove it on the floor.
Oh dear. That's why I'd never have kids.
I think when you guys get your PlayStations, I'm probably gonna be absent from that podcast recording.
We are gonna have to have a conversation because if assuming everything goes to plan in terms of Jonesy picking his up and mine being delivered and stuff like that, I think we'll be getting ours on the day we're meant to record something. But then again, it will also be the week after most of our audience has either got theirs or experienced everyone else getting theirs. So it's like this weird balance of, do you bother doing stuff for it? And then what do we record if like we've got it but haven't opened it? Or like, is it worth recording in the evening so that we can both play half an hour of Astro's Playroom and come on and then just recap everything we said about the DualSense last week all over again? Like,
well, like I said, I'm not going to be there. I'm gonna recuse myself from it. I'm going to take myself away from the situation because you guys are making me sad just thinking about it. So,
but that week, special guest presenter Roisin will be here to talk to us about it.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, we do
at least she's committed.
She's been very hyped for the PS5 for a long time. So
yeah.
Rightfully so. I can't wait to get my hands on it.
Oh my god!
I think I'm going to live stream picking it up in case anything goes wrong. I just want to like do a will I actually get it, will I not? I want to live stream the section where I walk up, hand over my pre-order, and they go,
Yeah.
"We're really sorry,
Dude,
but
just
Sony
do
only
a-
sent 3."
Just do it, just chatting. And then
Yeah.
when you get there and the guy's like, sorry, we don't have one for you, you're going to be like, you explain to these 8 viewers why I don't...
It's a good day.
This is actually what we don't know, but this is the beginning of our like emancipation from Jonesy, because the clip from that stream is going to go to the top of the live stream fails subreddit, and Jonesy's going to become famous.
Yeah, it's going to blow up.
2,000 subscribers and never speak to us again.
It's the dream. It's the dream.
It's the dream. Oh my God.
What, the blowing up part, or the never speaking to us again part?
Both.
Yeah,
Both go
I
hand
thought
in
so.
hand.
I thought
Cool.
so.
Okay, fair enough. Now we know where we stand. I guess it's time to just, cut out this podcast. And the only thing left to do, fellas, while Jamie yawns away like a donkey.
Hey, I've had about 3 hours sleep in the last 72 hours.
Yeah, very interested in the election results, are you?
I guess let's just say that. Let's say that. That's the simplest way. That's the simplest way of putting it.
All right. Well, the only thing left is to decide on a code word for people that have made it this far into the show. That if you're watching on YouTube, you can leave a little cheeky little comment to let us know that you're one of the good ones. So, what's it going to be, fellas?
We could. Is it too hard to spell, or is it too early in the podcast to throw back to the old Sylvester stroke?
The Sylvester, yeah.
No, I like it.
Just let us know if you're having a Sylvester stroke, and we'll take it from there. Don't send us pictures because we don't want to
get that. Yeah, like start forwarding us your pictures of your Sylvester stroke faces.
No, oh God, no. Well, if you do want to, it's twitter.com/fullfatjamie.
No, it's not. It's not.
Just DM Jamie. Just get onto Twitter.
I don't want to have to. If I have to close my DMs, then there's going to be trouble. I can't.
Wow.
Don't
well, there
send
we go.
me.
So
Don't send me. Oh, yeah.
yeah. So don't, but do send Jamie some Sylvester shrugs.
Don't.
And yeah, don't. And with that, thank you for watching. If you're watching on YouTube or listening on a podcast platform of your choice, or if you're a Scotsman in Paisley, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.